Welcome to a new episode of Short Comic Introduction. Today is a little bit first for me because I will talk about a comic that ended. It has reached a real end, and it went on for nearly 10 years. So, yeah, without ado, let's start with or take a look at Caribbean Blue from Rodrigues. Like I said, the comic went nearly 10 years. It started in 2004 and ended in 2014 and reached a whopping 326 pages. The comic is the second bigger project that Ron started. It was something he wanted to do after his first project, a comic called Tina Online. His idea was to expand the lore a little bit more and also do a full color version of that. And Caribbean Blue was this was the end result in that way. The story follows Tina, Yuki, and Nekonny on their way to an island where they just want to just go into vacation, but on there they're mistaken for some legendary heroes. At first glance, it's something that isn't that really sounded interesting for me. But I have to be honest here. I didn't read the comic at first. I knew this comic was out for some years, and or let's say I knew it for some years in this case, but I never read it at first, and I'm ashamed to admit the reason was because this was one of the few cases where I have to admit I judged the book by its cover, and the cover of the comic was something I let's say it didn't speak to me. It was something I saw and I thought, yeah, it's not my kind of thing. I will show you the cover so you know why or what I'm talking about, because sometimes it's not so. This was the first cover I saw of the comic in the internet, and like I said, it didn't look like something that I would enjoy. This. Okay, just to be fair, I didn't say the cover was bad or that the artist didn't or was bad or something like that. It just when I start normally when I start checking out the comics, it's mostly because I saw something out there and I was interested in this. This was just someone said I should try it out. It might be something that I like, because they knew at the point that I was a fan let's say I'm a big sucker for stories with a little bit mythology behind them, or some kind of legends, and I like it when these stories are, let's say, a little bit different than the normal ones. But like I said, I saw this cover and I thought, I can't think about it that this is something I really would enjoy. So it went on some lists. I said, okay, I'll maybe check it out later on or just forget about them. So this comic went some time without my attention, and some years later I saw some other pictures of the comic, and I was surprised how dark the pictures looked, and they were, let's say, they intrigued me a little bit more, and that's the time where I really started reading this, or get a little bit more into it, and I have to admit, I really like it. It's not a very, let's say, it's not a very deep storyline in this case. So if you're searching for something like let's say Lord of the Rings or something like that, then just go on. This is not something for you. This is more light-hearted comedian spin on it, but with very let's say with some very dark tones in it. some people might have a problem with the art at first, because it's kind of interesting to see this. I've showed you the picture, and it looks like someone who just started or has some experience in drawing, and but hasn't reached the point where he's really good at it. And I would say look over that, because some of the comics I read will surprise you with the let's say how kind of easy they are drawn. And this is a case where I say, look over it. It's very interesting, and it's a really fun experience to read. And if you read it over, if you really read it through, you will be surprised how the art changes over time. And it's a great example to see how an artist improves along the way. Because if you check out some of the first pages, I just go through the book in let's just take some pages out of them, how it first looked. Yeah, let's just check out these pages here and how they looked later. I just hope not to take something out that's a little bit spoilery, so that you can see. Come on. Yeah, let's take this one. They at first glance they might look a little bit similar, but believe me, in the darker pages or at the end of the book, there are really beautiful pages in there, and that show how the artist has improved from his first pages. I mean, he worked on this one nearly 10 years. And yeah, it's definitely something I would check out, and not only for the art, because I have to admit I like the characters. At first I thought, okay, it's more a comedical kind of thing, and the characters might be some kind of only have some throwaway gags, and are just there to let the story keep on going. But I have to admit, I really like them, because every character has its own quirks. Every character has its own every character is has its own personality in this case. And through the whole comic, you really learn to like these characteristics. And yeah, it's one of the few cases where I say, even if this even if the story isn't very deep, it works even with the characters. It really works out. So yeah, definitely check it out. And something I also have to say, the last chapter, I really like it, and I love the ending. Yeah, it might, like I said, it might not be the whole super fantastic ending. It's more a somber kind of ending, and that's what I really love in this case. It's one I always go back, and I really like to remember when I think about different endings. I have just shortly I talked with someone about different movie and story endings, and this one always comes up in some way for me, because it's really memorable, and I think he did a really great job with this one. And yeah, definitely it's definitely a comic I would check out, even if it's something at first glance, or let's say it's not your cup of tea at first glance, because I think it will surprise you how it's going on. The only thing I think many people won't like, and I have to admit it's something I also have some problems with, is the kind of fan service it's inside. Because some people, I know that, or let's say many people don't like that, and may stop reading it. I know it from anime, and so that some. Even I have sometimes a limit where I say, okay, that's enough, and I stop it now. But in this case, yeah, it's there, in 2 or 3 parts, I think it was a little bit too much, but it's, let's say, it has a level where I say it's not taking away too much from the story. So yeah, definitely check it out. One thing I should mention, I will leave the link to the comic in the description below, but I should warn you, I think you can't read it at the moment, or you can't read the complete comic at the moment, because it's updating every some days the single pages. And this has to do with the rebuild of the Catbox servers, where the comic is hosted. Yeah, so there are already many pages online, but it's still a long way until the whole comic is again fully readable on the web. So yeah, just keep that in mind if you start reading. I think you can still get you can still buy the PDF versions of it, but I haven't checked it out at the moment. So just keep that in mind when you start reading it. The second thing I want to talk about is I said that this was a expansion from the comic Tina Online. There is a follow-up story of this of Caribbean Blue, and it's called Paprika. This one is, believe it or not, is a reboot of Tina Online, and it is kind of a prequel to Caribbean Blue. This one is more, it started in March 2015 and is still going on, and that's more, how would I explain it? Or let's say it's more of a daily strip kind of comic, completely in black and white, and I would say it's a little bit more grounded than Caribbean Blue, but after the latest pages, I would say not a whole lot. It's a funny story. Or let's say it has some funny parts in it, and it's definitely something. If you like Caribbean Blue, I would check it out. But even if you thought, okay, Caribbean Blue wasn't your cup of tea, I would say take a look, because like I said, it's a little bit different than Caribbean Blue, but in a way that I think even this one is in some cases more enjoyable for a broader audience. So yeah, I will leave the link below, and I would check it out. This one is following Tina and Yuki a little bit more, and their daily lives, and yeah, like I said, definitely check it out. Yeah, so if you're interested to support the artist, there is a way. He has a Patreon channel. I will leave the link below, and also he has also a YouTube channel where you can check out some of his or let's say some of his drawings, how they were created. Also will leave the link below. So yeah, definitely one I recommend, even if at first glance it's nothing you normally would read, but yeah, definitely check it out, and thanks for watching.